Okay, the 21-22 season. I think we all kind of got a little bit of normalcy with tournaments. You know, a year ago fall, we were playing with all our own players. We barely even had any interaction between teams and things like that. So this fall was different, which in a good way, because you know our last experience in fall was just kind of so crazy. So happy to get to play. Love winning at Todd Creek, love defending. I think it's harder to win a second time than it is to win a first time, right? And with a new group and new players playing was a lot of fun. Fall is part of the year that I feel like we do very well with, because everybody's come out of the summer playing a lot and practicing a lot. So, and we had a new venue to practice all of our qualifying rounds. We're at Flying Horse. So really fortunate to have that relationship for the fall. And then spring-wise, we started out really on fire. We won our first event and actually didn't play that well. And then we got into March in Colorado, and we all know how weather goes. So the further away we got from all of that frequency that we had early in the spring, it was almost like the more we struggled, up until we got to that back-to-back tournament we play in Phoenix and Tucson. Then we had that frequency back up, and then played, you know, pretty okay at our max. I keep saying it, you know, we're the first loser 2 years in a row. So, and it's funny, but at the same time, it's also a little bit frustrating. Well, I think you have expectation that sets in, and I think expectation is a hard thing to combat, really. And we won the Swan the year before, and then they changed the format. So we had 36 the first day and 18 the second. So much more kind of a rigorous schedule that way. I know the guys play it all the time. We don't play it as much. So it was great to get the win with the new format. And then I think for whatever reason, we just couldn't get started in Utah. We had a weather delay. We had like a 2-hour break in the middle of the first 18 the first day. We left, we tried to reset a little bit, and then played a little bit better on that second day when it was hailing sort of for the first 6 holes. It was just an odd series of kind of an odd event schedule. Then our flight gets canceled on the way home. We thought we were driving. Like there was just, you know, it was one of those where like, oh, we want to go back because it was fun. Like all of the events around, the experience around was really good. But the golf course is fun too. So we just, for whatever reason, play that well. But 2 second places to end. I think that's our best like single season, like fall or spring, like seasonal finish out of 5 events, right? We've, you know, if you go back to the RMAC, the previous year, we went second, first, 4th or 5th, whatever that is, and then second. So I mean, as a string of events, that was really great for the team. And then it all of a sudden just chops off, right? So that was the hard part. It's like, we wanted to keep playing. I think that would have been the thing to do, is had I found a 5th event for the fall that was really worthwhile, I think that would have been great. Really thought we should have won there at that at the one for for Fort Lewis, yep. And Nick, I can't remember the memorial event, but really thought we should have won that one. Played really good that second day, and got to take everybody, which is a great experience as well. So the team to Albuquerque in a van and back, I think that's fun too. It just keeps the team together a little bit. And like I said, had we had another event right after that, I think that would have been great. Or, you know, had another event to play after those 2 strong events, I would have been happier to keep going. I had a hard time after the week-long event because I didn't feel like we played that bad, but we didn't score very well. Like the girls played well. We knew going in that it's long. Like that 5th and 6th day, like your golf swing is different after 6 days of golf in a row, and so we knew what to expect, or we knew how to kind of be ready for what might come, and we couldn't put together a good round together. So, you know, chemistry wise, whatever, I didn't feel like there was anything wrong there. However, on the plane ride home, it wasn't that long, but it was long enough for me to say, all right, we need to switch this up a little bit. And I wanted to make sure that the message at home that I had been preaching all spring was stay ready, stay ready, stay ready. You don't know when it's your turn. And obviously we had JJ the year before slip and hurt herself, and she was out for the rest of the year. So it was never a thought that I was going to have an injury that we were going to have to deal with, but it was always that stay ready, because you never know when you're going to be called. And I need all those reps in practice so that you're ready to qualify. And so when we came home from from that event, I really had a sour taste in my mouth. The Palm Valley event was huge. It was like 28 teams. It took way too long to play. The girls, it was hot, right? So it was a struggle. Like they did a great job keeping what mindset they kept, what they scraped together for mindset at the end of that one, just to go into 3 more days of golf. I mean, it could have been really detrimental. So I guess it's a kind of a could have been worse scenario, but on the way home, I thought, you know what, we need to do something here. We need to support this a little bit differently. So I opened up that 5th spot and said, all right, everybody has a shot. Like this is anybody's match. And so Sam came through and played really good in those 2 qualifying rounds. And then, gosh, proud of her, jumping in there as a 5, and then just played better every day in the RMAC tournament. So, you know, losing Dakota and losing JJ at the end of this year as graduating, we needed something like that to happen. So, you know, things are kind of meant to be in that way. Sam jumped in and really took that spot for herself. And then I think the confidence she gained over 3 days at the RMAC, scoring better each day, are just going to springboard her into the fall. So really excited really about how it ended, even though it wasn't what we wanted. I'm excited that I feel like that becomes part of the new core of what this 22-23 team will be. Well, first thing I want to do is I want to block everybody's phone and computer from me being able to look at rankings, regional rankings, right? So it was one of those things, while we felt like we were slipping while we were trying to hold on tightly to the bottom end of the regional ranking. And I think it was once we really knew, like, the only way we were going to advance was we had to win the RMAC, because we had fallen too far. And I don't remember where we were, because I wasn't paying attention near as much as the girls were, because I didn't want to coach based on that. I do that on scores. Like I have a system to when I look at scores and when I don't look at scores, because I don't want to give out a club or a selection or a decision based on what I just looked at, right, on the outcome of what we're doing on the score sheet and in the tournament. So I don't want to give information that is kind of emotionally based. I want to give information just very basic. So I don't even look until after par 3s. Like after I get the whole team through, that's when I start looking at scores, and then I can get, okay, we can adjust for that next time I see everybody, or if I need to, as I'm passing everybody to go to the next par 3, then I can give them information. But I'm not going to look until I get everybody through. So gave you a little of my insight there. But you know, once we knew that was our only option, right? It wasn't really a backs against the wall situation, but the scenario was, hey, we're here. We're going to go give it an effort. We're going to control what we can control, which is very few things in golf. But you have 100% control over the things you have control over, and we're going to choose to control those things and then see what happens. So, you know, watching JJ that last day and watching Faith chase her down, it was hard. It was really hard to watch that, because I knew JJ wasn't playing poorly. I knew that Faith was just playing well. You know, when Faith was like on 8, she goes eagle, par, like birdie, 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 birdie. And that birdie on that par 3 that she made, it was right. It was just before JJ putted, almost on the same line. When it went in, and it had no business going in, I was like, oh man, like that's gonna be hard to recover from. Like we had taken those body shots for 4 holes in a row and it maintained. But when that one went in, I was like, ay, ay, ay. And still 2 more holes. It wasn't until there was kind of a flip-flop where JJ was on the green, Faith hit it into the garbage on the par 5, and then had to take a drop. It was really only at that hole when Faith actually overcame her. So it still took a couple of holes to actually get the lead, right? So from that standpoint, we did a great job as a team. You know, the team continued to plug and play with parts all spring long, and the mentality was everybody really has a much better understanding of how golf happens as a team after this year than I think we ever have before. In other years, and golf's a hard team sport. I mean, let's face it, you can win individually, you can win as a team. And when you win individually, sometimes it doesn't have any bearing on your team, but when you play poorly as an individual, it has a lot more bearing on your team, right? So we learned a lot about team golf this year. We learned a lot about, okay, let's make good decisions, let's make smart decisions. And I think smart decisions are different than conservative decisions, right? Smart decisions are still aggressive lines to big targets, as opposed to really conservative and kind of, you watch a team gets a big lead, right, and then they inevitably lose because they're kind of playing too conservative, trying to make too pretty of a pass, trying to equate it to other sports. But for us, we learned a lot about team golf. Going into the fall, we've got to have some leaders step up. So, I've got some of my COVID graduates right now, right? So I've got some people that stayed longer, that have had a presence and a really tight grip on the culture for a long time. And now it's time to kind of turn that over and work through who that new leadership layer is going to be, and how we do the things that we do best, maintaining some of our culture from the last couple of years, but then moving it forward with the group that we have, right? I would say that JJ and Dakota did a nice job with maintaining a lot of that, and they're moving on, and that's what they're supposed to do, right? When in this 4 or 5 years of your life, you are supposed to move on, and it's hopefully what you've taught and what you've helped your younger golfers and younger players understand what you bring forward. And we'll bring some of it forward and some of it we won't, and that's okay. I think every team has kind of its own little signatures, and there will be signatures of this that are from 2 or 3 years past, but then the signatures from this team will also move forward. So I think that's a really healthy way for culture to continue to grow.